trading away. DJ Moore isn't just a bold cap move, it might be the ultimate betrayal of Caleb Williams right before his pivotal breakout season. By shipping their elite WR1 off to Buffalo, Chicago stripped away their young quarterback's ultimate security blanket and forced an unproven receiving room straight into the deep end. General manager Ryan Poles is betting the entire franchise on Luther Burden III, making an immediate superstar leap, but any sophomore slump leaves Caleb completely exposed. While saving salary cap space looks brilliant on a spreadsheet, forcing Williams back into his chaotic hero ball habits could derail his entire second-year development. Did the front office just execute a genius long-term reset, or did Chicago just sabotage their future superstar before he even had a chance? Imagine waking up to a notification that instantly redefines the next 5 years of your favorite franchise. On paper, trading a star receiver after a grueling playoff run is a maneuver reserved exclusively for teams entering a scorched earth rebuild. Yet Ryan Poles picked up the phone, finalized the deal, and sent DJ Moore packing to the Buffalo Bills. The sudden nature of the announcement sent pure panic through the Windy City, sparking national media debates and sending Bears fans into a total collective tailspin. National analysts immediately slammed the move, declaring that Chicago's offense was destined for a massive step backward, just as expectations were hitting an all-time high. But here is the part nobody is talking about. This wasn't just a sudden trade, it was a fundamental shift in how Chicago plans to operate its entire organization. Stop and think about what a young quarterback actually needs to survive the brutal transition into elite NFL status. It isn't just a clever offensive coordinator or a solid offensive line. It's that one trusted veteran wideout who can bail him out on 3rd and long when the pocket collapses and the blitz is closing in. DJ Moore was precisely that lifeline for Caleb Williams, a proven receiver who demanded double coverage and made contested catches look entirely routine. Taking that kind of safety net away from a second-year signal caller is a colossal risk that almost no genuine contender would ever dare to take. By ripping Moore out of the lineup, the front office effectively forced Williams to play without his most reliable weapon, turning his vital second-year development into an absolute high-wire act with zero safety net below. Now pause for a second and look at the immediate ripple effect across the entire league landscape. The moment the news broke, rival NFC North executives were reportedly shocked, while Buffalo media celebrated securing a legitimate top-tier weapon for their own championship push. Meanwhile, back in Chicago, the narrative shifted from building a juggernaut around a generational talent to questioning whether the front office is playing four-dimensional chess or simply playing with fire. The sheer audit of talent lost in this single transaction is staggering, leaving analysts scrambling to figure out if there was a hidden breakdown in communication between the coaching staff and the front office. Every single offensive metric from last season proves that Williams posted his best passer ratings when targeting Moore in high-pressure situations, making the decision to part ways even more baffling to the average fan. Here is the real kicker. This gamble instantly puts a massive target on Ryan Poles' back for the entire duration of the upcoming season. If the Bears come out of the gate slumping, dropping early divisional games because the passing attack lacks rhythm, the trade will be labeled an unmitigated disaster and one of the worst front office blunders in Chicago sports history. On the flip side, if the offense somehow thrives, Poles will be praised as an absolute visionary who sold high on a costly asset while opening up crucial cap flexibility for the future. But in the ultra-demanding world of professional football, patience is non-existent, and every single incomplete pass Caleb throws this year will be analyzed under the intense microscope of DJ Moore's absence. The clock is ticking, the pressure is mounting, and the entire NFL world is watching Chicago's grand experiment unfold in real time. Did Ryan Poles just execute a cold, calculated masterpiece, or did he blindly tear down the exact foundation required to transform Caleb Williams into a superstar? As the team gears up for the season opener, one absolute truth remains. there is no middle ground left for this franchise. It is either going to be a brilliant tactical reset that propels Chicago to elite status or a catastrophic blunder that haunts the organization for years to come. The safety net is gone, and the spotlight now falls entirely on an unproven group of wideouts. Without DJ Moore commanding double teams and quietly soaking up a massive target share, the dynamic of Chicago's offense changes overnight. The weight of an entire city's expectations shifts onto a young core, transforming what was once a deep, versatile receiving core into an high-stakes experiment. Sophomore sensation Luther Burden III and Rome Odunze are suddenly being asked to step into WR1 and WR2 roles without the cushion of a seasoned veteran drawing the defense's primary coverage. To bridge the gap, the front office brought in 31-year-old Kalif Raymond, adding a fast, shifty slot presence to give the offense a veteran voice. Raymond turned heads early in training camp when he hauled in a 54-yard touchdown bomb from Caleb Williams, igniting a flash of optimism across practice fields. But relying on explosive camp flashes over proven, year-in and year-out production is a massive gamble for a team trying to build sustained playoff success. Camp highlights look great on social media, but Sunday afternoon against pressman coverage from elite division rivals is an entirely different standard. When the pocket breaks down on 3rd and 8, Williams won't be throwing to camp hype. He will be looking for a target who can consistently create separation under pressure. Look at the raw numbers from last season to understand how drastic this shift really is. DJ Moore wasn't just catching passes, he accounted for nearly 30% of the team's total air yards and served as the primary option on third downs and in the red zone. Replacing that level of production isn't as simple as plugging in a fast slot receiver or asking younger players to take on a few extra routes. It requires an entirely new offensive hierarchy, one where every single route runner has to execute with flawless precision because defenses no longer have to tilt their coverage toward an established superstar. This dynamic places an enormous amount of pressure directly on offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Known for his creative play design and ability to scheme pass catchers open, Johnson now has to build an elite passing attack without a traditional top-tier WR1. Instead of leaning on individual matchups, the Bears will have to rely on motion, disguises, and quick rhythm throws to keep defenses guessing. It is a scheme-heavy approach that demands instant decision-making from Caleb Williams, leaving very little room for miscommunication between quarterback and receiver. The reality of NFL depth charts is that potential only takes you so far until it translates into consistent performance. If Odunze, Burden, and Raymond click, Chicago's offense could become an unpredictable, multifaceted machine that spreads the ball around effortlessly. But if defenses manage to neutralize the young receivers early, the lack of an established safety net will become glaringly obvious fast. Ryan Poles laid his chips on the table, betting that collective young talent and smart coaching can outweigh the loss of a proven star. The entire thesis of the DJ Moore trade rests on one single player making a star leap, Luther Burden III. Coming off a promising rookie year where he posted 652 receiving yards and flashed undeniable potential, Burden isn't just taking on a larger workload, he is being expected to become the central focal point of the passing game. His explosive ability after the catch and versatility across the formation make him a natural fit for Ben Johnson's offensive scheme. When you look at the tape from last season, Burden displayed the rare native instinct for finding open space against zone coverage and fighting for extra yards through contact. That specific skill set gives the coaching staff confidence that he can handle a primary role, but stepping up from a dynamic secondary option into a true WR1 who absorbs top coverage shell defenses is a completely different challenge. Throughout camp, the chemistry between Caleb Williams and Burden has been the standout narrative driving optimism around the team. In tight 7-on-7 drills and high-pressure situational periods, Williams consistently turned to Burden as his top read. During a clutch 2-minute drill late in camp practice, the two connected on a high-velocity touchdown pass over the middle, demonstrating an immediate, unscripted timing that usually takes years to develop. It is precisely those moments that Ryan Poles envisioned when making the call to move more. The front office believes that giving Burden immediate volume will accelerate his growth into a game-breaking elite receiver, turning what looks like a roster gamble into a calculated roster evolution. Here is the underlying issue that cannot be ignored. Relying so heavily on a second-year player leaves zero margin for error. If Burden leaps into stardom, Poles looks like a front office genius who correctly identified talent while reallocating draft capital and cap space. But if Burden suffers a sophomore slump or struggles when opposing defensive coordinators start game planning explicitly to take him away, Caleb Williams will be left vulnerable in the pocket. Young quarterbacks thrive when they can lean on proven veterans during times of adversity. Taking away that established anchor and asking a sophomore to carry the WR1 mantle means every mistake, dropped pass, or wrong route run will be amplified under the heavy spotlight of the Chicago media. The gamble goes far beyond mere stats. It directly impacts the psychological development of Williams himself. When a quarterback loses his primary target, his processing time in the pocket naturally increases while he waits for less experienced receivers to create separation. That extra half second in the NFL is often the difference between a clean throw and a drive-killing sack. Burden has all the physical tools, elite speed, and competitive toughness required to become a dominant receiver in this league. But until he produces those results week in and week out against primary cornerbacks, the entire Bears offense is floating on potential rather than proven reality. As kickoff approaches, all eyes remain firmly fixed on number 10. Burden doesn't need to just be good this season, he needs to be dominant from the very first snap. The Bears have effectively linked the immediate trajectory of their franchise quarterback to the rapid development of a sophomore wideout. If Burden delivers on his first-round talent, Chicago's front office will be praised for a bold, forward-thinking move. If he stumbles, the decision to trade DJ Moore will be cited as the exact moment Chicago derailed their young quarterback's momentum. From a pure spreadsheet and roster construction perspective, the logic behind trading away a high-priced veteran receiver isn't entirely without merit. Moving DJ Moore's substantial contract off the books instantly cleared significant future cap space, giving general manager Ryan Poles the long-term financial flexibility required to construct a deeply talented, sustainable roster around Caleb Williams. In today's modern NFL, managing the salary cap is a relentless game of resource allocation where teams must anticipate monster quarterback extensions years before they actually happen. Shedding a top-tier wide receiver contract before age-related decline sets in allows a front office to reallocate millions into offensive line investments, defensive front depth, and key secondary pieces that keep a franchise competitive over a 5 to 10-year window. Yet football isn't played inside a balance sheet, and cap management does not score touchdowns when trailing late in the fourth quarter. The central flaw in a purely financial approach is that it ignores the immediate, real-world human dynamics on the football field. Young quarterbacks do not develop in a vacuum filled with cap projections and future draft picks. They develop through repetitions, confidence, and the physical security that comes from playing alongside elite, proven playmakers. By choosing long-term salary cap efficiency over immediate offensive stability, the Bears front office effectively accepted a massive level of on-field risk during the most delicate phase of Caleb Williams' career. Consider the cascade of operational problems that occur when a receiving corps loses its primary anchor to a cap-clearing trade. If injuries strike the wide receiver room, a statistical certainty over the course of a grueling 17-game regular season, the depth chart drops off precipitously. Without Moore drawing the safety over the top or commanding double coverage on third downs, opposing defensive coordinators are suddenly free to dial up aggressive blitz packages, crowd the line of scrimmage, and force Chicago's young pass catchers to beat physical pressman coverage on an island. If those young receivers fail to generate quick separation against physical cornerbacks, the entire timing of Ben Johnson's offensive system breaks down instantly. This dynamic creates a dangerous ripple effect that falls squarely on the shoulders of Caleb Williams. When receivers struggle to get open on scheduled routes, a young quarterback's clock in the pocket gets disrupted. Instead of taking his drop, making a quick read, and delivering the ball on time, Williams will be forced to hold onto the football longer, extended plays, and routinely operate outside the structure of the offense. That survival-style approach leads directly to taking unnecessary sacks, throwing into tight coverage out of frustration, and reverting back to the chaotic hero ball habits that Chicago spent all last season systematically trying to eliminate from his game. Look across the modern NFL landscape at how rival contenders approach the development of their young, high-upside quarterbacks. The teams that successfully transition young signal callers into superstar status almost always surround them with top-tier veteran talent, absorbing heavy financial costs specifically to make the quarterback's job as seamless as humanly possible. Look at Philadelphia prioritizing elite pass catchers for Jalen Hurts, or Cincinnati maintaining star power around Joe Burrow during his formative years. Stripping away talent to preserve future financial flexibility is a strategy typically reserved for rebuilding teams, not a franchise that believes it is ready to step directly into contention. The stark contrast between financial prudence and on-field reality becomes even more pronounced when you evaluate the physical toll on a quarterback. Hero ball isn't just an inefficient way to move the chains. It physically exposes a franchise quarterback to extra hits, scrambles, and high-impact tackles outside the pocket. Preserving millions in cap space means very little if your prospective franchise saver is taking a pounding every Sunday because nobody can create quick separation on third down. The front office's gamble assumes that the secondary benefits of cap health will outweigh the immediate friction added to Williams' daily operating environment. Every decision in an NFL front office comes with a trade-off, but few trades carry a higher cost of failure than this one. Ryan Poles made a calculated, cold-blooded business decision to prioritize Chicago's future financial health over present-day offensive luxury. If the young receivers step up and the offensive line holds, Poles will be celebrated as a pragmatic strategist who avoided the cap traps that hobble long-term contenders. But if the offense sputters, the passing game breaks down, and Caleb Williams regress into survival mode under relentless pressure, no amount of salary cap flexibility will protect the front office from the fallout of sabotaging their own franchise quarterback. At the end of the day, Ryan Poles laid his high-stakes chips on the table, and now Caleb Williams has to step onto the field and execute under the blinding spotlight of an expectant city. The front office made its defining stand, choosing long-term financial flexibility and roster depth over the immediate comfort of a proven veteran receiver. There are no more off-season debates, no more salary cap breakdowns, and no more training camp practice reports to hide behind. From the moment the ball is kicked off in week 1, every single throw, every third down conversion, and every late game drive this season will serve as a direct referendum on whether this front office executed a brilliant tactical reset or committed an unforgivable act of offensive sabotage against their generational quarterback. If this grand experiment succeeds, the narrative surrounding the Chicago Bears changes overnight. If Luther Burden III ascends into elite receiver status, Rome Odunze dominates on the outside, and Ben Johnson's offensive scheme operates with ruthless efficiency, Ryan Poles will be celebrated as an absolute visionary. NFL analysts will write glowing articles detailing how Chicago masterfully navigated the modern salary cap, selling high on an expensive asset while building a deep, sustainable contender around Caleb Williams. In that world, the decision to part ways with DJ Moore won't be remembered as a betrayal at all. It will be praised as the masterstroke that unlocked a new era of Bears football and established a long-term championship window. But if the offense stumbles out of the gate, if young receivers struggle against physical pressman coverage, and if Caleb Williams is left running for his life in collapsed pockets, the backlash will be swift and merciless. When a young quarterback is forced back into chaotic hero ball survival habits because no one can get open on third down, no amount of preserved cap space will shield the front office from the outrage of a starved fan base. A second-year quarterback's development is a fragile, irreplaceable process, and if this move damages Williams' confidence or halts his growth, it could set the entire organization back by half a decade. There will be no excuses left for Ryan Poles or Ben Johnson if the passing attack collapses under pressure. The ultimate question hanging over the midway is simple, yet the answer will echo through Chicago sports history for years to come. Was trading away DJ Moore a dangerous, reckless gamble that stripped away a young quarterback's vital lifeline right when he needed it most? Or was it a cold, calculated masterclass in modern roster construction that will ultimately propel this team into championship contention? The line between front office genius and total disaster has never been thinner. Now the floor belongs to you. Was trading DJ Moore a dangerous betrayal of Caleb Williams or a brilliant tactical reset that secures Chicago's long-term future? Drop your thoughts down in the comments with your exact take, smash that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive analysis, and make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you stay locked into every major breakdown as this high-stakes Chicago Bears season unfolds in real time.